Hi guys, and welcome to part 3 of our data dictionary tutorials on how to create metadata or code books for your data sets, your research data sets. So this last one was called DD Creator, which was created as part of the Society for Improving Psychological Science, as a group that we were kind of working together, and our research team kind of finished it out. So this again is a shiny app, and it's very similar to data schema, just with kind of a different focus, and it works fairly similarly and provides you with similar outputs. So why pick one over the other? Our paper covers this, but really this one has some unique options for variable category labels, and also puts out data in data schemas, schema.org's dataset format, and this one would just provide more detail, and so it allows you to create more fine-tuned control over what exactly is in each variable, whereas data schema is more generalized. So what I would start with is what my project name would be. So this is the empty cars data set, and I could give an eloquent example of what this is. I could put in all the project authors. I'm just going to put in myself right now, but I could list the entire research team. And then I could put in a project description, which I was using the description from ours website that explains what the Motor Trend car road test data is and where it's provided from. So here you can put in lots and lots of text about the data set. Next step is to upload the data. So we can input text, CSV, Excel, SAS, and SPSS files. So I'll pick my CSV that I have. I can make sure that this looks like the data set I intend it to be. And at the top of each one, we have a description of what's happening. All of these are collapsible boxes as well, which is useful on the next couple of pages. So I'm going to click variables. So there's a big long description of all the variables here at the top that you should enter and what is on each one. So I'll kind of go through those one at a time. The name of the variable is the name of the column from your data set. Be careful to pay attention to the fact that there shows you only 10 at a time. So remember, if you have more than 10, to hit next down here. Okay. The unique values displays the number of unique values automatically calculated is the C word I'm going for here, from your data. So miles per gallon has 23 unique values, cylinders is 3, 27, etc. That's really very useful for categorical data. The number of missing values indicates the number of NAs calculated from the data. So in our data set, there aren't any. Levels here, and this is really for categorical variables, but you can leave it in for continuous ones. But for any data, any column with less than 5 unique values, it will automatically put in these as levels. So for gear here, we could treat this as continuous, but this really is for 3, 4, and 5 gear cars. These VS and AM here are the engine type and the transmission. So we want to label what 0 and 1 are. The moment they are integers, but maybe we should have put those in as categories. And so it automatically calculates them for less than 5 unique values, and you could actually add them for each one. So in each one of these boxes, they are clickable and changeable. Okay. So you click twice, double click to get them. So I could actually change all of these, even though they're auto provided. And the goal of that is to give you some halfway point between automating this entirely, like codebook, and then providing you start values. Right? The type here is the type of variable. It's going to come up numeric, integer, character, or Boolean for true-false values. So it'll say logical. Minimum is the auto provides you the minimum value, but you want to put in here the minimum allowable. So let's say you have a Likert scale from 1 to 7, but people only use 3 through 5. In the minimum allowable, you want to put 1, and the maximum allowable, you'd want to put 7. That's the true range of the data. but these are provided as starts, right? So we'd want to put in maybe the true range of horsepower. Missing allowable, this is a true-false column, mostly filled in with true, but this would indicate if you would allow missing data or not in that particular column. Missing values equals, this would be if you want to code them as a special code. So instead of saying missing is NA, you could say missing is 9999, which is one of the defaults from SPSS a million years ago. And synonyms, this might be also known as, so let's say you're using a really popular scale, and you could spell out what the label should be here. So like the CESD, you could put that one in. Of course, I picked the one I can't pronounce correctly, but the Centers for Epidemiological Disease, or any like other keywords you want to enter here. So the synonyms column is really about providing some information for each variable. And here I want to go in and start typing. So this column is currently an integer, but is not supposed to be an integer. It should be a character. I also could put this as categorical. Character is the way that R treats a lot of these. That's what this is built on. A lot of these data frames, it also can call them factors, but a lot of research people think of these as categorical variables. So there are some different labels that you could use here. I would want to put in a description for each of these, which I won't bore you doing, but we'll include in the online version of this. And then any other numbers I want to change. So what's the minimum allowable and what's the maximum allowable for each of these columns. Okay. Once you are done with this page, you can move on to the next page, which is our category labels page. This will default to giving every unique value. So the values here are the literal values in the data set, okay, in order. And then the description will automatically default to being whatever that value is. So for miles per gallon, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it does provide you all of them. However, the more interesting ones here would be the transmission of the car. And I know that 0 is automatic, an automatic car. And 1 here is a manual transmission car. And so this would allow me to map my values to descriptions. This does not automatically relabel the data, but this is very useful for data sets that we treat sometimes as continuous, like liquor data, but we want to know how those are scored. So if the score is from 1 strongly disagree to 7 strongly agree, I could tell you exactly what information I put in there. So I put strongly disagree on 1 and strongly agree on 7 and neutral on 4, and I didn't give labels to the other ones. Or I did give labels, and here's what those words are. So this allows you to narrow in to what each value might represent from the way you gave your study. For example, the weight of the car here, for these types of columns, they're not super useful, but I would maybe want to put in the weight of the cars in the description on variable page here, the weight of the car, right, in 1,000 pound increments. So I could talk about the scale of the data in the description. Okay. So now when I go over to category levels and look at weight, this makes a little more sense. This car is 1.5, okay, 1,000 pounds. So 1,500. Once you are satisfied that you have done all of this and clicked through each one, if necessary, you can come over here to the output page. The variable metadata is a CSV file. Okay, and the way that these save is the name of the data set, metadata, and then the date in ISO format. So let's look at that one. And here I could go back and edit these if I found some typos, right? So it saves it as a CSV file of that table that we were looking at. The category labels file is similar. It will look a little nuts because it will have every possible value for each variable. So the first column is the name of the variable and their unique value code. So in miles per gallon .1 is the first unique value for miles per gallon, and its value and its description. So with very, very large data frames, this can get quite big. Under download R data file, this creates a specific type of R file that saves with all of the attribute labels. So all of these variable labels that we typed, it will input those into the file and save that. So if you open this in R, for example, RStudio or regular R, you would find that it had saved all of those attributes for you. Okay, so you don't have to enter them again. Now, JSON files, I explained this in the last video, but if you didn't watch that one, a JSON is a machine-readable format file that creates structured data. So let's see if we can open this. Oh, none of that nonsense. Let's just hit save. On most computers, that's going to open with a browser, like an HTML file. On my computer, it opens with a special coding thing. So let me hit Firefox here. And the really nice thing about these is that they are machine readable and they create structured formats. And so we formatted this in schema.org's format for data sets. So that's what this first thing is here. I'm gonna hit collapse all. Under name here, it's got the name of the data set. Alternate name, it's got that project name that you gave it. Description, this was the description of the file that I put in. This date published is today's date. Creator is the name that I entered. This is where it gets nuts. Under variables measured, it has each variable. So it has the name of the variable and then all of those columns that we entered. And so the description would be, the levels in the description here appear to be backwards, so I'll fix that. But the description would be miles per gallon and the levels would be whatever I had entered. The disambiguating description down here is the name for like where all the levels are translated. So let me back up one here and do just AM transmission. This is where you could see its description, which it would say automatic transmission or manual transmission. So each one of these has all of the CSV files and everything that we've already entered taken together. And so that's why these are useful, is because instead of having 4 or 5 different files, it's just one big file where everything is combined together into one. And so what you do is take all of that information, upload that into your favorite data repository, something like the Open Science Framework or GitHub, and that would be your metadata schema created from DD Creator.